What's up, y'all? It's your boy Tobias here, and welcome back to my channel. So as you guys can see, it's kind of gloomy. It's been raining today, so I'm not going to do anything out on the grill. We're actually going to go inside, and I'm going to show y'all how I make one of my favorite side dishes for every backyard barbecue, and that is barbecue baked beans. Now, me personally, I'm not one that likes meat in mine, because if you're having hot dogs, hamburgers, ribs, chicken, all of this other stuff, brisket, you don't want meat in every single thing that you're eating. So I actually don't even like meat in mine. But hey, if you want to add meat to yours, by all means, feel free to do so. I have a special ingredient that I'm going to be adding to this recipe today that comes from P.O Box that I'm very excited to try out today. So make sure y'all stick around and let's head into the kitchen. So y'all came here to figure out how to make some bomb barbecue baked beans? Well, guess what? I'm here for you, and I got everything you need. So let's not waste any more time, and let's get right on into this video so y'all can go on ahead and make yourself some. Of course, first things first, we got to talk about the baked beans. Now, I use Bush's maple and cured bacon. You can use whatever kind you like or whatever variation. We're also going to use some dark brown sugar. And because we're adding sugar, I actually like to use a no sugar added barbecue sauce. So I use the Ray's Hickory barbecue sauce. We're also going to go in with a little bit of yellow mustard, as well as some W sauce, or as I like to call it, Worcestershire sauce. And we're going to go in with a little bit of molasses, not too much, just a little bit. We're going to go with a yellow sweet onion, a green bell pepper, and for a little bit of heat, of course, we're going to add in a jalapeno. Now, the star, okay, of this is P.O Box's smoked hickory and honey sea salt, okay? It is a game changer. It's a must. But we'll get into that later on. Let's chop up these veggies. So I'm going to be using a full green bell pepper here. Now, if you want, you can absolutely use the tricolor peppers if you want to add a little bit more color to the dish. But what I will say is this: if you do that, make sure that you're still incorporating a few of the green bell peppers. The reason why I like to use bell peppers, specifically the green ones, is because the green ones have a little bit more of a bite to it, and the other ones are sweet peppers. And I don't necessarily want that. I want something that has a little bit more bite, a little bit more of a texture, a little bit more of a kick to it. So that's the reason why I like to use the green bell pepper. So by all means, you can absolutely incorporate the tricolor peppers or the sweet bell peppers, but just make sure that you're still adding in some of the green bell pepper so that you can have that little bit of bite. Now, I'm breaking these down into a rough chop. You don't have to mince them up too small, because you do want to see those peppers and the onions mixed in. So, you know, break it down to a rough chop, but don't feel like you need to completely mince it. Next up, we're going to talk about an item, you know, that is optional, but to me, I feel like it is necessary when it comes to baked beans, and that is a jalapeno. Now, what you're going to see me do is I'm actually going to cut this in half, and I'm going to remove the seeds from just half of it. Now, the reason why I do that is so that I can regulate how much heat is in it, especially when I'm giving it to other people. But the other side, I'm leaving the seeds in. So it'll give it a little bit of heat, but not too much. If you already know that you're one that likes the heat, leave all of the seeds in. Or if you want, add in 2 whole jalapenos. It's completely up to you. But I definitely like for my baked beans to have just a little bit of heat to it. So that's the reason why I keep in half of the seeds. Now, these you do want to break down into a mince, especially because we're only using 1 in this particular recipe. So definitely break that down into a mince. For this particular recipe, I will say that this will probably feed anywhere between 5 to 6 people. I'm doing a much smaller version because this is honestly just for the purpose of this video. But when I'm making it for cookouts, I double, if not triple, this recipe. So just keep that in mind if you're going to take this to a cookout. You might want to double, if not triple, the entire recipe, okay? As you can see, we got those down to a nice mince, so we can go on ahead and set those to the side. Next up is our sweet Vidalia onion, or sweet yellow onion, whatever you want to call it. I'm only going to be using half of it because this was actually a really large onion, and I don't want it to be too onion heavy. Once again, for this, I'm going to break this down to a rough chop. You don't want giant chunks of onions, but you do want to be able to see it. So I'm going to do the exact same thing to these onions that I did with the green bell peppers a few moments ago. And this is pretty much it as far as the prep work for your baked beans. Like I said, I don't like to add meat to mine, but if you are one that likes to add ground beef to yours, or chorizo, or, Italian sausages, you can absolutely do so. That's completely fine. But I'm just not a fan of that. So that's the reason why I choose to not do that. But, if you would like to add meat to yours, by all means, that is completely fine. Now it's time to put everything together. So I'm going to be using a cast iron skillet, and no, that is not rust, honey. I had fried me up some bacon this morning, child. So go on ahead and just pour everything right into your cast iron skillet. You don't have to use a cast iron skillet. That's just how I'm baking mine today. I'm going to pour in both of those cans of those delicious baked beans. Next up, we're going to go ahead and add in our jalapeno. We're going to add in our onion and our green bell pepper. Then we're going to add in a half a cup of firmly packed dark brown sugar. I want the dark brown sugar taste there. We're going to add in 1 teaspoon of yellow mustard. Next up, we're going to add in 1 tablespoon. Actually, no, I'm sorry. That's actually 2 tablespoons of the no sugar added Hickory barbecue sauce from Sweet Baby Ray's. We're going to add in a few dashes of the Worcestershire sauce. And then we're going to add in a half a teaspoon to 1 teaspoon of our molasses. And then the star of the show. This Pit Boss smoked hickory salt and honey is everything, but you only want to add in 1 teaspoon, okay? Maybe a teaspoon and a half. Don't go too far with it because it is very potent and a little bit goes a long way. Trust me. Plus, you have to keep in mind, it is salt, okay? So you don't want to be adding in too much because you're just going to make your dish entirely way too salty. Have your oven preheated at 350 degrees. Now, you can choose to just put your cast iron skillet on top of your grill, or you can put it inside of your smoker. There's many ways that you can do this. I'm just simply putting mine right in my oven at 350 degrees, and I'm going to bake this for about an hour to an hour and a half. I like for my baked beans to be nice and thick. I do not like them to be runny and loose like they currently are right now. You want to allow all of that sugar to crystallize and get nice and thick, and honey, they are just going to be bomb. You don't need to cover them or anything like that. Right now, I'm just making sure that I got everything mixed in. And like I said, I'm going to pop these in the oven at 350 degrees for an hour to an hour and a half. Just make sure you're keeping an eye on it just to be on the safe side. If your pan is a little bit on the fuller side, put something underneath. That way it does not overflow and you get all that sugar at the bottom of your oven. After that, your beans are going to come out of the oven and bitch, look at them damn baked beans. You know that don't make no sense. And you know you want them. If you want to get your hands on that salt that I was talking about, click the link in my bio. Head over to Pit Boss and get it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I hope you guys enjoy what y'all saw thus far. And as always, y'all keep it grilling. I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.